Hello everyone and welcome to ZankCast, where we discuss Beyblade topics. For this ZankCast, we have our special guest, probably co-host. I always point the wrong way. Nizuma.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
100%. So for this one, since we pretty much got all the news now for it after like many weeks, we now know all the crossover results, which, to give context to the viewers, TAKARA TOMY basically held on this like beach forum where basically fans could vote. And then after through this voting period of each generation, we had like the top 15 for each. Then people voted again, and then after is like the top 10. And then after whatever gets to like I guess like the top results are like most likely, you know, it's like we'll get into it, but kind of want to first ask, what was kind of your thoughts on them kind of doing the crossover to begin with, kind of like the process they did?
Well, I mean, just to start, I wasn't expecting them to do remakes for X after they pushed out so many for Burst. I was not expecting them to do it at all. And then for them to do the voting, I'm not going to lie, when they first announced it, I thought for sure, like, it would be like, you're voting, but it's not really going to affect anything. So I was really surprised when they actually announced the winners, and they're, I guess, moving forward with the results. So, which is very cool. I'm glad that they're letting the fans get involved with what they produce for the remakes. I think that's pretty neat, given that we've already gotten some of them for Burst already. So yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. So we basically have all the generation stuff. So kind of the idea I thought that'd be fun to kind of go over would be, since obviously they're not going to do every single one that's like for the top 10 for each. The specific details that they did say was for each generation, and I assume this is going to be now their priority, Bakuten Shoot was right at the top for most popular, then it was Metal Fight, then it was Burst. So obviously for them, probably for generation priority, they'll probably do that, which less Burst, I'm not really complaining.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really surprise me, especially since Burst just ended. It really doesn't surprise me. That, and they're like, I think we covered this last time, but they really seem to be pushing the marketing towards like the older audience. So I can see like the fans that grew up with Classic Gen going, hey, that looks way different and more accessible. So yeah, I could see why Bakuten would be the most popular. But I think I mean, well, I don't know how it is in Japan, but I'm not sure what sort of like the fan base looks like in Japan. Like, it's very possible that people are more fond of Bakuten than the other series. So yeah, that's just speculation though.
I would probably say, because I do feel probably a lot of like, and I remember there was some interview when Beyblade X was going on, I think it was a little bit before, right around the launch of like the official news drop, that they said kind of like a large amount of like the sales come from like that older audience, which is why they're acknowledging in the advertisement. So I'd probably assume they're kind of building, and probably because of that, they're building each generation, you know, it carries over the Bakuten and Metal Fight. Burst I am maybe surprised with, because probably that means that the Burst fan base in Japan is a lot younger, and they probably don't care as much for like the voting.
Yeah, it's possible. Very possible.
The other thing I want to cover, which is actually a little bit surprising to me, because I thought they would have just done this throughout the lifetime of X, they did specifically say that 2024 focus until March 2025. For the 25th anniversary of Beyblade, that's the remake period. So whatever they do for Plastic Gen, that's there. Metal Fight, that's there. Burst, that's there. I'll let you talk in 1 second, but I'm very surprised that it's like just like that. I guess it makes sense because it's the anniversary in context, but like that means that their slots are like finite now for what they pick. And 3 generations is kind of nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that, I mean, that is a really narrow window. I mean, X is doing a lot of really weird stuff with their releases to begin with, like like what we're seeing with like Shark Edge just coming out and then it's getting a reprint like literally like a month and a half later, and then like the short random booster, which is like literally the same Beyblade but like 3 different variants or whatever. So maybe maybe during that period we'll get full on like secondary random boosters along the normal stuff that's just straight up remakes. Like that would be. I don't want them to like limit it so much that like we don't get a lot of like the stable popular like character Beyblades or whatever. I don't want to just get like 3 or whatever and then that's it for Bakuten, or like 3 for Metal Fight or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that. And plus it's very tricky with how you're going to balance it because there's the Bakuten, there's Metal Fight and Burst, and I honestly don't know how they're going to be doing it, but we do have our first generation to go over, which will be Bakuten. So just because we kind of established that they're probably not going to do every single one, I'll still go over all of them. We can try to go over each of them. We'll give our thoughts, new parts, not new parts, whatever. So I'll kind of go in reverse order, I guess. So 10 was Wahlborg 2, 9 was Draciel S, 8 was regular Wahlborg, 7th was Dronzer GT, which a little bit surprised me. Then after 6 was Dragooon GT, 5th was Dragooon MS, 4th was Drigger S, 3rd was Drigger V2, 2nd was Dragooon S, and number 1 was Tripio.
Tripio's sweet, man. I voted for Tripio, so I am surprised Zeus didn't make it on the list.
Yeah.
Like the only antagonist character that made it onto the list is Yuri or Wahlborg. So I mean like they could have done Burning Cerberus, they could have done Zeus. I'm a little surprised. Like a lot of Dragoons made it into that list. I'm very surprised that given some of the remakes we got for Burst, people didn't say, let's try to get something else in here. But I guess I'm not. I mean, I guess it's not that surprising. There's a lot of Dragoons in there. I'm very surprised Draciel made it onto that list.
Yeah. That's where I kind of feel like some of it has to be BS, because, like, we'll get into Metal Fight in a second, but I feel like some of them are just, like, the easy ones that they can do. So they're like, oh, well, they made the top 15. But we'll go over them one by one. Tripio is a little bit interesting for the statements that they made, because basically what they said is that I think because from Dronzer S's development, it was a little bit difficult to kind of translate that to X. And Tripio is like a fat circle. So I can't imagine in development team they're trying to figure out. They did say they will do it, but it won't be the next one, which makes sense. But you kind of how do you think they're going to handle Tripio for X?
I was talking about that the other day on one of my live streams. But yeah, so the issue with Tripio is it's really big, and it's really thin. So like it's actually hold on, I have one right here. Let me grab it.
All right, let's we got it. Listen,
I got it. Okay.
All right.
So just for comparison, this is Tripio. Okay, so here it is next to X.
Yeah, they can't do like a giant metal frisbee.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously they're going to scale it down, but just like the shape of it, you just got this one large outer circle and then these 3 supports. So they're really going to have to modify this drastically. Yeah. I'm expecting they'll do some sort of like metal circular thing, but they're going to have to make it off balance. They're going to have to scale it down. It's probably going to be super light. And the gimmick, the actual like, where people would launch it and it would, that's not going to be a thing. So when they release it, I don't expect it to be good. And I expect it to be much, much smaller because it has to fit in the pockets. It has to go in the over zone. So I expect it'll be scaled down quite a bit.
Yeah. To add on to that, I mean, some of the first season stuff is super easy for bits. Like, I think Tripio would be like Needle, right? You'd get
basically like Needle.
Yeah. And the thing is like that's the issue with certain bays because like it's hard to convert it because you have to think of the context within the system. Like for Burst, even though I disagree with Burst as a system in itself, they had to heavily modify a lot of stuff like Metal Fight because Metal Fight was all circle, so they had to like make the designs kind of weird, off balance for the metal placement, so that it couldn't be near perfect. And Trapper, like
Yeah.
I understand, right? It's like a meme, and I'm okay with stuff like Dragoon drones are not making it because they're probably always gonna make it. So I'm okay with whatever is like optional, but I feel like it is just because Japan is kind of like this like sub meme culture for this bay. Like it's kind of like
Yeah,
their
yeah.
bay.
Yeah, definitely. There's a bunch of Japanese like YouTubers that make basically just content around doing weird things with this Beyblade, chopping it
Yeah.
up, attaching things to it, like literally like entire channels with like 100K, 200K per video, just messing with this thing.
Yeah. I honestly like. Uh, it's funny because actually I think Tripio was my second experience, but first real one with Plastic Gen because I had like the Gold Sonokong back in the day. But when
Yeah.
Garuda was coming out, and I think Garuda was like the unofficial sequel to Tripio. I remember something like that. I did actually get Tripio, and I was like, oh, that is cool. So I do get the appeal. I don't know. I just wanted my biased base picks, but number two, Dragoon S, which I think does make sense because that's like, the birth of the anime. It is very iconic. I can see it being so high up.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with Dragoon S at all. I have a feeling that we'll definitely end up seeing that one get remade. I think we'll see most of the S series stuff. I think
Yeah.
that one's fairly easy too. It does have a rubber flat, but they may
Yeah.
just skip that. I mean, they may just give us a flat. I don't know that. I don't know if they're going to feel obligated to try to incorporate that gimmick into it. They might. I'm not going to be mad if they do, but
Yeah.
it seems like the focus, at least for the Dronzer remake, was the blade itself.
Yeah. I think probably also it's like the limitation of whatever releases. That was like what they did with Burst Remix, like whatever is like the closest equivalent. But where it becomes really tough is like, rubber flat is something that I feel like by the time we get to like March, even if they do it like April, they surely have had to do at least one rubber flat by then. I refuse to, because like Excalibur for Burst was year one. It was like December. They have to do rubber flats, surely.
Yeah, I would think so. Although, yeah, yeah. I mean, I would think so. I would think we would get one by the end of the year. I think, like within the next. Yeah, it's got to be December. We got to start getting gimmick bits by December, I would think. At least one or two, because everything we have right now is pretty standard.
Yeah. So Dragoon, I would probably agree. Just basic flat if they just do it, or rubber flat. But Plastic Gen stuff is a little bit interesting how they do it, because drones is a little bit weird because they can get away with the metal placement. But I am trying to think, like, is Dragoon gonna have like 4 weird upper slopes on it? Because I have to protect those heads.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess they could make it square. If you look at the blade, like if you just trace a line from point to point, you could literally
Yeah,
just turn it
okay.
into a square.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
Then-
would necessarily like that, but
Yeah.
that's how they could do it.
The next one, I don't think, even though it's number 3, they'll probably, if they ever do it, it probably would be later, but Drigger V2. Drigger V2 is very complicated because it's not just the attack ring that they're doing in the top part. To give context, if viewers who, let's say, don't know Plastic Gen, Drigger V2 basically has, like, support parts that go on the bottom of it to help extend some of its contact points. So for Drigger V2, it's like a slope. No. Drigger V2 is like, I don't know how they're going to do it. Like, Burst, when they did it, I was genuinely surprised. But, like, for X, the ball's in their park.
Yeah, I legitimately don't know how they could do it without just making it a complete tank. and super OP. I mean, it's really good in burst as well. But like, I feel like if they made it, and especially if they made it as tanky and as thick as it is, it would just be super OP. It would have to be, unless it's. Yeah, I have no idea. I feel like it would have to be good if they did it, but maybe they'll skip it this time, since we literally used one of the. I mean, we got it like the last year of burst.
Yeah. Plus, also, I feel like they would probably have to do something with burst did. And no offense to burst, but I do find it a little bit weird how they did it, because they basically just made it rounded off. But I feel like because the precedent we got with 3A, I would have assumed it could have been more of a slope. But now when you get to like metal and that stuff, that's where it gets messy. But we'll just go to fourth. Fourth, I feel this is probably going to happen, because they already said they want to focus on S series with Tripio, Drigger S.
Yeah. I think we'll get Drigger S, and I think as long as they don't nerf the weight too much, I think it'll be pretty good as well.
Yeah, because that's the tricky thing, because Dronzer S is not bad, it just requires like higher skill use. So probably S series, I am a little bit afraid. It is kind of dumb, because because people say it's a collector's item, but then after it's like, if it was a collector's item, they wouldn't put that much effort in developing it, so they clearly realized that like the remakes are pretty good.
Yeah, I am hoping. I mean, all we have right now is Dronzer, but I am hoping that everything else that they release as well ends up being more usable than what Burst was. A lot of the remakes we got for Burst were not very good. So I'm hoping they're better this time around. That way we can actually use them. But I hopefully Drigger's a little heavier than Dronzer.
This is where it gets a little bit interesting. I was surprised anything from HMS actually kind of made it. I guess because of the anime boosted it, but Dragooon and MS made it. Now, Dragooon and MS has a pretty kind of wacky shape, and I don't know how you do it in X, because I feel it's going to feel a little bit weird, because HMS was like, it's plastic layering, but then after there's like the metal contact, and there's metal weight on the bottom. So, what do you think?
I feel like the X remake for Drigger S is going to be the equivalent of Dragooon MS. Because if you like, it's plastic, and then you've got this sort of like metal piece underneath that like makes up the contact points or whatever. It's very similar to how they did Dronzer S, where you've got this plastic thing in the center, and then you've got the metal outer. So I just assumed that people wouldn't vote for it, because it's already going to be very similar to whatever we get for Dragooon S, I think.
Yeah, that would be pretty fair. I just forgot to go over real quick, but I don't know. Do you think if they did Drigger V2, Drigger S, or Dragooon MS, what would you think for the bits? Well, actually, Dragooon MS would just be whatever they put for Dragooon. So we already eliminated that.
So Drigger S is like a sort of like metal semi-flat.
Yeah.
Actually, most of the Driggers are kind of like either a metal semi-flat or metal sort of sharp. They're not. Most of them are like some variant of semi-flat.
Right.
So I would assume we would get something like that. Maybe like high metal needle, I think, is probably the closest. Or something with that sort of shape. If they do it too sharp, it'll just kill the stadium. But
because then after it gets weird, because then after it's technically a defense, I thought they'd probably do whatever Burst did. So I think Drigger S had like fusion. So I assumed maybe like point for Drigger S at least.
Yeah. I mean, if they use stuff that's already pre-existing, something like point probably, or maybe a regular, maybe the shape of high needle, but maybe not high needle. We've just got another variant of needle. I don't know what they would call that. I mean, I guess they could do high needle, but low. Well, we'd have needle, high needle, and low needle, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I would hope that they would do some sort. I'm hoping we get some sort of metal tips sometime in the near future. I mean, I don't want metal sharp, but a metal semi-flat I'd be all right with.
So we'll kind of eliminate both of these at the same time. Well, because also we're getting to like 6 and 7, and probably, actually, I don't know what the priority is, because I guess anything's the ballpark for the top 10, but Dragooon GT and Dronzer GT, which, if no one has experienced Plastic Gen, if you get the Mint at least, they have a thing that's called an engine gear, which basically you wind it up, and like they'll do like an ability. So like Dronzer GT's ability is that it'll go like this, and then it'll go around, backwards, and Dragooon GT was, it briefly accelerates. Obviously, we're probably not going to get that.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, if they do that towards the end, I don't know what kind of gimmicks would be out at that point, but I guess if they really wanted to throw it all in on like the last releases or something, they could do something like Ignition, where it's like the bit and the ratchet combined and it has some sort of motorized thing. That's a possibility, although I wouldn't bet on it. But they could do it if they wanted to. I don't know that we would get a wind-up gimmick, but they could figure out some way to do something like Ignition if they wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah, and plus two, I mean, Dronzer GT, we'll get in a second, but Dragooon GT, it's basically like, when I saw Cobalt Drake, I thought Dragooon GT. So now, we actually have the proper left spin of that. We got the proper G upper, if they do it.
Yeah, I'd be super hyped to see some of the GT stuff because we didn't get it for Burst.
Yeah. So, I mean, for Dragooon GT, we can probably make the assumption if they did the X adaptation, probably good for upper or whatever. Dronzer GT, I'm not too sure how they do it. I feel like it probably has to get modified a little bit because it's kind of like this weird round shape, but it has like little things kind of like sticking out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they could just do sort of like Shield has this sort of like curved shape to it.
Yeah.
They could do something like that for the outer part of GT and just maybe a little more aggressive with those curves and then just make the interior plastic. Maybe.
All right. Well, moving on. We basically got Wahlborg, Draciel, and Wahlborg 2. So I don't know if we got anything special to say. I mean, Wahlborg, I know has the bearing. Isn't it Wahlborg 2 has the rubber bearing?
Yeah, it has rubber bearing, which I think would be pretty cool to get. I don't think we've had a rubber bearing since Plastic Gen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would actually be pretty good for X. Granted, we don't have any rubber defensive tips right now, but I think that could potentially be pretty good. Mm-hmm. I expect that we'll get bearing tips at some point. I don't know how great they'll be, but I do expect we'll get that because it's
you have to, yeah.
With X, it's just there's so much recoil, there's so much, it's very high speed. So I feel like, and they would definitely make the burst resistance terrible, for sure.
Yeah. I guess for Draciel, just to kind of end off before we hit to the metal fight stuff, I obviously under the assumption too that probably the way they get around most of these is they're gonna like enlarge in a lot of the weight discs that these things have, which if the viewers are wondering, that's basically like the middle part. So probably that'll like save a few of them for the design, because like Draciel very recoily. Like even the burst one, they had to like nerf it quite a bit, and Hasbro released an even more nerfed version of it that they had to like round it even further. Yeah, that in metal, I don't know.
Yeah, that would be, it'd be not.
That would not be ideal.
Again, they would have to, like with the burst remake, they just made it really square, as far as the actual layer goes. But I'd be interested in seeing the bottom half of the gimmick, like, be a thing. So like the ball bearing on the ratchets possibly, or a metal ball tip would be cool.
Yeah. And I think also, as we're going to move on to Metal Fight now, the one thing I think is smart is that they're going to spend the time to like that March until the end of like the following year, because by that time they would have probably had most gimmick parts developed, because like when they were doing the V2 remake set for Beyblade Burst, they threw an explosion dash. So probably if we do see it, it'll probably have something similar to whatever. And I think probably for most of them, they won't do new. It kind of depends, because even in Burst, they kind of just like recycled. They didn't really make new tips for like a true remake. So that's kind of like part of like the thing people gotta accept. It's like you're not gonna get this 200% conversion. It's kind of like what makes sense, because obviously for development time, it's already like an entirely new Beyblade, and I can't imagine the homework they have to do for most of these bottoms.
Yeah, very true.
So, is there anything out of the 10 before we hit Metal Fight that's like you would love to see? It's guaranteed for Bucket Injured. Actually, here's what we can do. We'll do top 5. I mean, top five sounds like it makes sense. Top 5. So like that's guaranteed. They'll do it from that period. Just assume that they'll do 5
out of that list.
Out of the list.
Yeah, okay, so Tripio for sure. Tripio I want to see. I'm just very interested to see what they do with that.
Sure.
Dragooon GT, Dronzer GT, Wahlborg 2.
Okay.
And probably Drigger S.
I think that's the same for me. That's probably the same for me. I don't really got that many options. I'm looking at the regular Wahlborg, like there's nothing.
Yeah, there's a lot of Dragoons in there, so.
Well, speaking of repeated, we got Metal Fight, which now as I was setting up before, Thermal Lacerda, nobody cares about Thermal Lacerda. They threw that in there. I refuse to believe that Gravity Perseus was not as popular as Thermal Lacerda. I refuse to believe it. Like, it's dual spin. It was very popular for the meta. Like Lacerda, I even saw it in the manga. There wasn't that much hype for it. So I'm very happy that it did not make the top 10. Though, our top 10 is essentially just what they did for Burst, kind of. So I'll go over it. Number 10 was Burn Phoenix. 9 was L-Drago. 8 was Aquila. 7 was Big Bang Pegasus. 6, I'm going to butcher this, Basalt Horogium? That sounds right. 5th was Rock Leon. 4th was Meteo. 3rd was Galaxy. 2nd was Storm. And first by like unanimous was Lightning L-Drago.
That's a. I'm not gonna lie. That to me, that list is super uninspiring.
It's scuffed. It's six out of these 10 is Pegasus and L-Drago.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're not a big fan of like Pegasus or L-Drago, you're just like,
like guys, like at that point, throwing Lacerda, like I can understand some of these for popularity's sake. I am surprised 4D didn't go as high as it should have. That's a little bit surprised. No Zero G, I was like, not even Samurai, but you know. With already enough Pegasus, I guess that makes. I feel like also they could just admit, like, guys, you all know what, we had to kick out some of these because we're not doing another Pegasus. But we'll go over. I think some of the basics ones. Actually, well, let's first off, how do you think they're going to convert Metal Fight? Because Metal Fight, I think for the most part, should be easy, because the entire outer part is metal and the inner part is plastic, so I can't imagine it's too much work. Only, I think the L-Dragos are the only one where it gets a little bit weird how they got to do it.
Yeah. I think the L-Dragos are going to be the most complicated. I think it'll be pretty, like you said, I think it'll be pretty easy because like pretty much all of the contact points for Metal Fight are focused on the fusion wheels. So literally they just have to make a metal wheel that vaguely resembles the one from Metal Fight and just stick a something that looks like a fusion wheel on top, and they're good to go, basically.
Yeah, I would say so. I don't even think they really need to modify anything on here. I'm trying to double check. Well, maybe the 40 stuff, but we'll get to it. I think Phoenix, does make sense, because Phoenix as like a motif, it does have a very cool design. It's got the engravings of burning, which if that was in Beyblade X, the B would get like smudged off in 2 battles. But, you know, at least on the funny part, I don't think we would get... They're not going to do like needle... Would it be needle metal or metal needle? Because metal needle would be... Wouldn't that be like the top shaft? Or the bottom? Oh, God.
It was a metal shark. That's the most cursed tip in Metal Fight.
It's... They can just do like a gray bottom needle and the top part's like that light yellow. I'm not... If they ever do it, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, if they do metal needle, it's banned in Metal Fight, so I'm sure it'll be banned in X too, because it literally just like it puts like giant dents in stadiums.
Even like if it was high metal needle, I wouldn't want to see it, but I would probably assume, probably smooth for maybe stamina. Maybe they have to make it slightly more aggro, probably for attack. Just burn. I think L-Drago Destroy, I'm very surprised. Because I thought Metal Fight fans would have fought harder for it, because we didn't get that in Burst. And I thought they would have carried over. And probably, I think if they did L-Drago Destroy, it would just get points. They're not going to do, like, a remake of Final Survive.
Yeah, I think Destroy would have made the most sense as far as conversion goes as well.
True.
As far as like what would be easiest to convert. So yeah, I'm a little surprised that didn't make the list.
The only thing that gets tricky is that I think, and I don't really care, I don't think they'll do any mode changes. Like if there's anything that has a mode change, so L-Drago, Big Bang, or even Lightning, I think they just leave it in the fixed mode. And I think it's least complicated because, like, I know Burst did do it, but I don't think unless they heavily modify the X system, they'll...
Max, I'm in the middle of a thing right now. Come on, buddy. It's okay.
The viewers know my cat.
Max, hold on. Come here, buddy. You want to say hi to everybody? He's like my channel mascot. Everybody will like this.
We gotta love him.
Say hi. Say hi,
Look
Max.
at him. Look at the guy. Look at the little guy.
I need you to be quiet. I'm in the middle of a very serious conversation right now.
Look at the little guy. Yeah, but...
Sorry.
What was I saying? Yeah, I was gonna say, they'll probably fix it. The only thing... I don't know how they'll fix it to what. I don't even think they'll probably do... I wouldn't complain if they do Destroy, but probably not. Aquila, they might have to do what they did with Burst, because Aquila is kind of too perfect of a shape. I don't think that for X they could do it, because like Aquila can just get like high needle, sure, fair enough, but like the wheel's a circle.
Yeah, they'll have to nerf the weight if they keep the shape, or they'll have to make it off balance,
uneven.
Yeah. They'll have to make it off balance like they did for Shield. Because if Shield is balanced, I feel like it would be way better. Yeah, it's
probably a little too correct.
Yeah.
Big Bang Pegasus, I don't know. I think it looks nice, but I don't got any special feeling. I don't even know. Taper? You can't. Most of these things are, you can either recycle, unless they want to do new. Because it's semi-flat to rubber flat. Well, technically rubber roll flat or whatever, but like, I feel like they could just throw taper on it. I don't know. I don't think it needs that special treatment. Plus, there's like 50 modes on it, so whatever is the main mode, they'll probably do that.
That's true. If they did want to do a gimmick, they could do rubber point with like plastic in the middle, the plastic point, and then rubber on the outside. They could do that. That'd be kind of cool, I feel like. This
one, I'm actually kind of happy to see, even though this is a circle. This one's a little bit weird, but Basaltorogium. So kind of give some context, because I'm definitely not doing research for this right now. basically with the Maximum series, the whole point of this was that they purposely made it super, super heavy, and it was like, this is strong defense. But because it's obviously a circle, what they basically did is they did like a spiral staircase inside of it, so it's an imbalance. So it's not going to be perfect for stamina because it's like going like that around. So obviously, I don't know, like, I don't want to see it like if they do Basalt, like it has like the Cobalt Drake rates or like 40 grams or something for the blade. I don't know if we need to replicate it literal verbatim for how it was in the Maximum series.
Yeah, I think that's probably why people voted for it though, is because it's so good. Because as far as like, I don't know, for me personally, it's one of my least favorite designs for Metal Fight because it's just literally just a heavy circle. But I mean, they could do it. They would, like you said, I wouldn't want to see it like super overweight or anything. I don't want to see Basalt like take over the meta.
Definitely not.
But that's just me personally. I just don't like Basalt that much.
Yeah, and also it's gonna make sense for them. And if Dronzorus got the shaft, then probably like this in particular, they would have to really do like a super staircase or something. And like, because Metal Fight is literally like almost lacking a lot of originality for most of its bottoms. This would probably also be High Needle if they did it, just because it's the closest. So we get a little bit fun now, even though we already got it before. But Rock Leon, I like Rock Leon. This one's like a cool one. Rock Leon, it was kind of like how they advertised Night Lance, which was counterattack. I think technically this has to be a stamina type because they have to give it ball.
Yeah. I think I wouldn't hate to see it. A lot of the picks for Metal Fight to me are strange, given like some like how many other releases there were, especially during like Metal Masters and 4D.
Yeah.
It's like I like the fact that people picked Rock over like Fang or something. I just
yeah.
I don't know.
That's also why. Well, that's the thing. It's like I don't know. It's either TT rigged some of this, or the fans just really wanted it. I am surprised too. I do think if we did do like a poll for all three gens, we would probably get a lot more diverse than whatever was picked for this, which we might do an experiment to see, because I'm actually now curious to see. But this would probably be very similar to something Night Lance. Just because of its design, they're very close to each other. Maybe make the edges push out a bit more, but we get to know a fun one, which is Meteor L-Drago. Now, this one, very popular, but what makes this a lot special to me is that the clear wheel had rubber on it. Now, to have an equalizer in X, which technically also, for the Dragoons, this would also apply to them too, but I guess, like, impact absorption equalizer, so that way we kind of like specifically just leave it for there. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. It's just because we also have so many L-Dragos. It's like weigh my options. But what do you think?
So I've been thinking about this for a while because I mean obviously they're going to do left spin, and a lot of people have talked about potential spin stealers like Meteo or Fafnir or whatever. I think I'm okay seeing it, but I don't think it's going to be good. And there's a couple reasons. One, because of the rails. And two, because of the recoil, and three, because of the weight. So adding rubber onto attack or onto a X Beyblade that's nerfed in weight is gonna fling it everywhere. Like if you like, for anybody that's played Metal Fight, if you launch Meteo and you put an attack type against it, it's gonna get yeeted. Yeah, it's gone. And yeah, they would have to make it light enough to where the gimmick would actually work. Because if it's too heavy, it's like it's gonna be very hard for it to continue to spin. And if it hits the rails, like I imagine that's going to throw it off too. I'm interested to see how they do it. Maybe it'll work better than I'm thinking, but I don't think it'll be good.
Yeah. Because even in equalizing in X, I'm not too sure. And I think X is a smart design system because they purposely made it where you can't really force lat-offs. And I don't know what Meteor would do. Would Meteor, like, roll really weird at the end? Like, I can't... Like, the reason why Meteor in Metal Fight works is because Metal Fight's a lot shorter, and when you put it on combos, it's like a low height, kind of like stamina bottom. So, I don't know if it would get, like, the same sort of effect. What I would maybe think, and I think because Fafnir is also in the burst one, which is going to be the same idea for Fafnir, is that maybe it could tire them out, but I don't know. It's a very tricky one. Now, for the bottom... They could obviously just like recycle like low flat or something, whatever. I actually think this is like the easiest one for a bottom, or one of the easiest ones. Actually, most Metal Fight is, but they can just make a left flat that's from Metal Fight, but called something else because it's plastic, which was
yeah. I'm interested. I have a feeling they might do Meteor as far as the remakes go.
Meteor, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm.
Yeah.
I just don't know how it would work. I mean, I don't know. The system's just very, very different from all of the other systems as far as like how things function. Yeah. So maybe it'll be better than I'm thinking for something else. But I just don't see spin stealing working.
Yeah, not the same vein. But I think that's one of the positives to X, but that might disappoint. It's like eventually when we do videos on this, we can't do the hand spin Meteor video because what's it gonna do?
Yeah, they're too tall. Even if they go down to like a 50 ratchet and do like a shorter bit, it's still not enough. It wouldn't have good enough LAD. I mean, that's most of the combos for like the Metal Fight Meteor is like either like WD, wide defense, or W2D.
Yeah, super wide bottoms. Yeah. So next one is kind of nice because we get a redemption for probably one of the crappiest ones in the Pegasus line, Galaxy Pegasus. To give kind of context to the viewers, Pegasus' evolution is a consistent downgrade. The original metal wheel system, pre-hybrid wheel, the original Pegasus, awesome. Storm as a fusion wheel was not good. It had no purpose. Galaxy was even worse, because Galaxy, the shape is basically a mock of the original one with less weight. But this is their chance. And I think Galaxy did get the vote, because we do want to see the paint on this. And listen, after murdering a Cobalt Drake, I do want to see the battle scars, because it will be glorious to see a Galaxy that's going to be mostly silver by, like, 2 videos.
Yeah, I think... I'm interested. I hope they do Galaxy, even though I'm not, like, the hugest fan of most of the Pegasus line. Aside from pre-hybrid, I do think there's potential to make Galaxy good, and I'm totally down for more plated Beyblades, or painted Beyblades rather. I think it would look really nice in the X system. Yeah.
Now, if they don't do rubber 2 flat, rubber second, rubber to the power of 2 flat, I don't know what it's called. It just
R2F.
R2F, true. Probably if they don't do new bits, that's like rubber, I think low flat. I keep saying low flat because that's just like the easiest one to throw out there, because that's basically the same vein as what R2F does. Storm, no feelings for it. I don't care. Just give it flat or something. I don't... Get it out.
Yeah, I agree.
The one I think will potentially actually really shape the meta, even if this is like 29 grams or 30 grams, is Lightning L-Drago. Because Lightning L-Drago is like the thing that you can't nerf. Like in Burst, in the World Beyblade Organization, which is a fan-run events and all that stuff, we basically have these legacy formats. Now, obviously, L-Drago is technically like a Chizetsu layer, kind of, but not really, because it has like metal weighting in it and it's plastic. And on Cho-Z, it's at the top. And in GT, when you have access to all those parts, it dominates. And even you control in standard, and if you hard launch, because of how the shape is, you kill. So what do you think of the Forbidden Bay as number 1?
I'm fine with it. I think like left spin attack is going to be good.
Yeah.
I think the shape isn't going to be too hard. I think they'll just, because like the fusion wheel is really like the attack points for lightning.
Yeah.
So I think what they're going to do is just make it metal. Like what they're doing with Leon Claw, if you look at sort of like the slopes of like the 5 attack points, is very similar, I feel like, to what they would end up doing with lightning. Just cut out one of the points and make it left spin. So I don't see a big problem with the remake there. I think that has potential to be pretty good, pretty interesting. I don't think that should be too hard.
Probably what they will do, and I think it's kind of what they did in the Burst remake, because I know the Burst remake has like an inner shell, there's like the outer shell of it, and then the inner shell of it, kind of. So probably they could hide like the actual dragon head inside of it. They would probably have to kind of like metal contact it. Or they could try to do something weird and try to make it weirdly exposed on it. I actually hope, and I don't know if anyone else has this take, because I think before was like rapid attack mode or whatever it's called, where it's like the yellow part is exposed. I want them to do the other mode for the remake, just because it'd be funny. The upper attack, whatever it's called, the one where the red's exposed on it. Yeah.
I didn't even think about the fact that there's a mode change depending on which way you put it. I'm interested to know which one they pick for that, because I'm sure they won't incorporate a way to switch that, so it'll be one or the other.
Yeah, and I think also it's just my thing against lefts is that I don't have anything against left stuff, but I think burst. The issue is that, because people say, well, the plastic generation, technically anything can be dual spin, but also the plastic generation is not as lad heavy as the burst generation is. That's also why I have a big pet peeve against like anything left burst. But like for this like an attack type, so you can't go wrong. Like
I'm not. I know a lot of people are like, I don't want left spin. But as long as they make them aggressive, like whatever the left spin that comes out, as long as they make them aggressive, I don't think it'll be a big deal. I don't think it'll be an issue, because people won't be trying to use them for stamina builds or whatever.
Yeah, and. No, I would agree with that. So we'll move on to Burst, which Burst is like its own can of worms as well, because Burst is a very difficult thing to do. Oh, actually, I remember my thought was, we were talking about the aggressive contact stuff for left. So before we get to Burst, I did want to say too, something I didn't notice with X, what I really like is that some design principles from Burst, it's like the metal is a lot more aggressive design compared to like Metal Fight, which has its pros and cons, but I do think that's to their benefit, which is why we get to Burst now, because Burst is like super aggro for most of this. So when you first go over it, before you kind of just, how do you do the Burst base? Because, like, Bucketin shoots, okay, they can basically have the lower half of it extend the weight disc, but, like, Burst, it's very hard. I don't know how you do it. It's a very difficult thing for them to design.
Yeah, yes, well, some of the layers definitely more than others, for sure. I mean, it's something like, Valkyrie, like, what is it? What's the second one?
Victory.
Yeah, Victory. Something like Victory, they could just... I mean, Drawn Sword looks very similar aesthetically. So I guess if they wanted to, they could just make it metal and just paint it blue. Just like, here you go. Here's your Victory Valkyrie.
My only other thing is that this thing would have to maybe be like 3-4 layers to design. The plastic bottom that attaches, the outer metal shell, and you have to insert like the layer that's like mini and shrunken on there, because it gets really hard. So we'll go over the results. Wild Wyvern, which there's Wakia fans, I guess you got your number 10. Number 9, I am a little surprised that one made it, but Imperial, I guess because the bottom, because Ignition. Imperial Dragon, 8, Dark Death Scyther, 7, Drain Fafnir, robbed, but 6 Storm Spriggan, Lost Longinus, Requiem, Ultimate, Victory. Number 1, which I am biased to this, and me and my father did predict this before because we made the joke because it's called Beyblade X, Excalibur. It makes sense. It's in the name.
Yeah. That one really surprised me, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think it surprised a lot of people. There's a lot of good tears when I read like those Reddit posts, like, I wanted Volt to be number 1. Well, I get my victory some way or another. But we'll go over from 10. The Wyvern, just give it Orb or something. Wyvern's not particularly that well, I like the avatar creature. I like a Wyvern, but the Burst Wyvern itself, I think they only really hit the peak for what they could do with Jet Wyvern. I think that's when it got more interesting. Because, like, the first few ones were, like, okay. And you're already at pretty close to, like, Neptune with Wyvern. So already Wyvern was kind of, like, meh.
Yeah. I don't even know how they would do that one.
It's very complicated shape.
Yeah, the shapes are just really weird for some of the burst stuff. I'm not sure how, like the ones that are really jagged and have all kinds of crazy shapes going on, I don't know how they would do that. Yeah, they would just, the shape would just completely change. So what people are voting for, because they think it's going to be good, because it was good in a previous series or because of a gimmick or whatever, it's not going to be the same. They're going to have to change it. So the more complicated the shape is, the more it's going to have to change.
So Imperial Dragon, I understand why, because the bottom was basically electric motor powered, and that's probably most of the appeal. The thing is with Imperial, I think in a similar case of Tripio, the width of it is like very large, It's like a fat, weird, not like oval, but like it's like, it's a lot. And I know that they had like this gimmick where like the wings awaken and like the tiniest bits of rubber somehow do something for it, but like, I think they're never gonna do this one. I actually think confident. I will be surprised. It's too complicated. It's got cool gimmicks that can be designed for plastic, but they have bound, it gets fixed. They can't do it without it being significantly transformed. Like, I'd probably even argue maybe even more than Tripio.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anything with an awakening gimmick, anything that has, it's just, I think it's too complicated. And if we do get it, it's going to be so watered down. It's not going to be anything like the same Beyblade at that point. Yeah,
like, at least for the GT stuff, which, funny enough, this is in the Lair series GT, but I mean, plastic GT, you know, you can at least get somewhat equivalent to kind of their shapes or kind of get something, but like, I don't know. This one's a lot harder to do. It's a lot harder, but next one, I think it does make sense, and even though I complain a lot on Twitter because I was like, there's no way in 7 years of Burst that most of the stuff is Season 1. But like Dark Death Scyther did make sense to me because it was such a dominant thing in the culture in Japan. The original Death Scyther got banned, Hall of Fame. This one, banned as well. So that one makes sense. I actually thought might have been even higher, but Dark Death Scyther, the thing about it, it's like, you're just going to get a crappier Hell Scythe if they do it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it is cool. I do like Dark Death Scyther.
Like it.
It's a cool Beyblade. It's aesthetically, I really liked it when it came out. It's for classic format. It's still really good.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like that one would be pretty easy for them to do just because of that one. I mean, all of the like the dual layers, or most of the dual layers are fairly basic shapes. So I feel like of the list, that's probably one of the easier ones for them to do.
Yeah, they might have to fill the gaps. The other thing I thought maybe is they could make the Forge disc a lot bigger for maybe selling for the contact, but I don't know. If someone wants to draw some design concept or what they think this could look like, I don't know. Because also, I even forgot this, but this is kind of going to be very hard. It's not even translating them. I just realized, because these things have to have 3 holes in them for the launcher prongs, right?
Yeah.
You can't do Imperial. How's it going to... It's going to look like a HASBRO Command Dragon with the holes in it.
The burst stuff's going to be very complicated in general because, like, especially with the dual layers, you've got, like, 2 pieces of plastic and, like, the underside is where, like, the avatar molding is. And it's yes, I don't know how they're going to do that.
Plus,
actually.
It's like... Okay, like, Wyvern and anything dual layer, anything god layer, I think what they should do, and I think this will be an easy thing, is that the middle parts... They should do what Hasbro did, and Hasbro for their dual layers painted the letters, so you actually see what the letters are, which I think does look better for the design, actually. And I think they should do that. If they don't want to do it, that's fine, whatever, but I don't know. It's such a... I don't know. It's going to either... Some stuff's got to get deleted, or it's going to look like you distorted the Beyblade when you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, props to TT. Whoever's having to design all this, they need a raise. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Maybe that's also why Burst got the least amount of votes. Maybe it's like, well, guys, Burst somehow got 3rd place.
I guess it's not that interesting. We'll just skip it.
Yeah. This one I'm actually kind of hyped for, and it's not just because of the animation. It's Strain Fafnir. The reason why is because, even though it does have the rubber and that kind of idea of like spin sealing, whatever, blah, 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 it's because of the fact that the original Fafnir was originally based on them getting like the original Valkyrie, like I think it was like taping stuff, whatever, to kind of like emulate it when they're designing it. So this is like the closest cope I have to the first Valkyrie. So I do not mind it.
Yeah, I like Drain Fafnir. I like Free as a character too. I'm not the biggest fan of the Burst anime, but I will say that I do like Free. I remember following like the character in the manga when that was coming out or whatever, and like Fafnir's very cool aesthetically, but it's the same issue with Meteo. We run into the same issue with the rubber.
It might be. Oh, there you go.
I was just gonna say, like, the thing that complicates Burst so much is that the shapes of the layers for a lot of the Burst stuff is way more ornate and complicated than what we got in Plastic Gen, which is why I feel like Plastic Gen's a little easier because it's literally like model kits, molded single pieces or whatever. But like the injection molding for the Burst layers are way more ornate and complicated. And I feel like that's going to be because it's all metal on metal contact for X. So it's like it just makes it so much more complicated to try to recreate that.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think Fafnir, if they ever did do it, it would probably be more closer to attack than it would ever be for stamina, just thinking on it. Just because it's kind of got that shape, because just I'm thinking of the blue parts that protrude out. But, I don't know, it gets tricky. Death Scyther, I think they could just make a Jaggy bit. I don't think Jaggy would be good for X, but like if they wanted to, they could.
Yeah, they could. I don't think that would be hard for them to do.
Fafnir, I really would not mind to see a nothing. I actually think nothing might work better for X than it does for Burst, because nothing was the idea of like a bounce. So when it was taking impact, it would kind of be like a spring, which I think for X would be pretty cool. So for out of all the stuff, I think, because most of the bottoms here are kind of not too interesting. So for Fafnir, if they did do it, that would be pretty cool to see if they could replicate nothing as close as they could.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think it would work better for X. Also, just because they're a lot heavier too. Oh, yeah. So the issue with like when it came out was like a lot of the stuff was really light, and so it was like you'd launch it and it would just like throw it off balance, or like it just didn't function that amazingly. But I do think it would translate better for X. It'd be a little complicated given the size of the bits and stuff, and with like the actual gears. But they could do it.
I think
if they wanted to.
I think just the hardest part is that everything's basic right now, so it's kind of hard to imagine. Because I'm sure if we get to like season 2, it'll be like, oh, is that easy?
Yeah, I think what they're gonna do. A lot of people are like, "There's no way they're gonna be able to add gimmicks. Look how small they are."
No,
I mean,
easily.
all they have to do is widen the portion that actually sticks out from the ratchet. Like literally just this. They just make it wider and increase the gear ratio, and then that gives them more space. That's it.
Yeah. This one was a personal one I would have loved to see, which this one, by the way, would have just gotten the points bit. Storm Spriggan. This bay has gotten slandered to hell. Now, I'll bet it's because of the fact that the original TAKARA TOMY dual layer had the worst teeth possible on it. Also why the burst system sucks for their design. But, you know, like the HASBRO one, we got to at least see what could happen if it was a little bit tighter. The shape is pretty nice, you know? It's kind of got like these weird protruding squares. It's got a nice axe shape, which I think is kind of like when Spriggan was kind of peak for design. Kind of the idea of the axe thing, which is why I love Storm so much.
Yeah, I think Storm would be good. Storm was one of my votes. I think the shape is like simple enough that one would probably be one of the easier ones for them to replicate as well. And I also really like early burst in general, like single dual layers up through like some of the god stuff is some of my favorite designs aesthetically. So and because it sucked so much, the teeth sucked so much, I would love to see that get rectified and it be usable. I can't say that for most of the burst stuff, but I do want to see Storm Spriggan get remade. I'm down for that.
Which I am surprised because it's like it's such a popular rival. I would have thought it would have, but you know, what's funny is that we get to fifth, which is Lost Longinus, and Guilty was on the top 15. Now I even think if Guilty did actually make the top 10, they would not put Guilty there because Guilty, it's very hard to translate. Because it's, even for burst, it was pretty aggressive for its design. And if you did it for metal, like, it would just have to be so different from what the actual shape is. It'd probably just be like, they just get shark, you just flip it. But where Longinus gets pretty cool for its shape is Lost Longinus. Now, Lost Longinus is a little bit weird because there are metal dragons in the way of it. So I don't know, even if they did do Lost Longinus, where the launcher problem is going to go. Because, like, it's gonna kill. It's gonna decapitate one of the heads. They would. The design would have to get modified quite a bit. That's one that I wouldn't mind seeing. But again, like, it's one of those that's like, because it's plastic on plastic, they were able to do a lot of really weird shaping. Yeah. And it gets like the main gimmick was like the metal heads or whatever, and if it was the metal weighting and like upper or whatever. Yeah. So I mean, I'm fine if they remake it. I'm just very interested to see what the outcome looks like for that. Yeah, and plus, if they do Medio, Lost, you just do the exact same bottom, so it's not like they have that much work for them. Now this one is going to be the controversial part. You know, this is where they unsubscribe on the video. I absolutely despise anyone who voted for Spriggan Requiem. You have no taste if you voted for Spriggan Requiem. That actually boils my blood. The thing that literally killed the entire line of Spriggans in terms of originality in design is Requiem. Now, obviously, you're going to get, well, actually, I like equalization. Listen, it's... We were so close to having like a modified legend design. It doesn't even have a good shape for X. It's rubber on it. What they put metal in the. What do you think? What do you think? I think the votes is just another one of those things that it was dominant when it came out, and that's. I guess. Yeah. I think that's probably why people voted for it. Shape wise, it's awful. It's not. I mean, when you think about what they're going to have to change for it to actually make it into the X format, like, I think it's fine shape-wise, but, like, you run into the same issue with the rubber. It's just not, functionally, it's not going to work the same way. It's also, like, you can't do Zeta. You can't. Not unless, which if they want to be funny, and they should do this, they should release a 3-pack sometime during March. And it's going to have needle, flat, what would be the other one? Ball. And that's the 3. But the main one is Red Ring with some other band. They remake it and then they just give you 3 bits? Yeah,
Just like pick
go to
one.
town. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
Kids can't do it. Also the reason why I don't think you can fit Zeta in. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not thinking properly. But I don't know if you can. And if you can, fair enough. But I feel like it would be too tiny. Like even Zeta is very small for the actual bottoms of them, and for X, I don't know.
I don't think they could do it because like
they can't.
there's literally not enough space because you have to keep the gears. There's no way they can't do it. They'll give you 3 bits and they'll be like, here you go, here's your pack.
I think it's got to just be point. I don't know. That's what I thought. I feel like for some of these they just got to throw I don't think they can do a new bit. If they're gonna recycle, that would have to be point. Now, third one kind of does surprise me, which I guess kind of makes sense. Ultimate Valkyrie, which, being the last Valkyrie, and because they pushed it all the way to the end, I do see it. And honestly, I think compared to most of the BU designs, I do think, well, technically, Ultimate, like, Dynamite Battle and Ultimate, but they probably were done around the same time. I do think that Valkyrie, even though I think it's a little bit much to look at, I do think it had the most love in terms of, like, being the last one. Like, they really put it in.
Yeah, I think it's one of my favorites to stick on, like, my desk or something, because it looks awesome to look at. But, like, Late Burst got super, super over-engineered and over-designed, and they're so big. Like, when you think about how much they got to shrink that down to fit to X, like, I don't know how they would even do it. I legitimately don't know how they would scale it down enough and it even look like the same Beyblade at that point.
I know it definitely have to have, like, upper, which I think the upper would make sense, but I'm just trying to think, like, do they throw in the rubber? I don't know, because what's their other option? They make it maybe metal, modify it, and they paint it red?
I don't know. Like, the chip is almost as big as, like, an entire X blade. So, like, I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do it. If they do it, I don't know.
That's what I feel like. Cause I do remember they did say something along the lines of, even if it does make the result, it doesn't mean guaranteed. Which I think in the context they do mean just within the top 10. So it's like, okay, maybe we'll prioritize Valkyrie. Bottom. Oh no, sorry, go on.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think what we're gonna see is a couple of these get remade, and I think we're going to see dual layers. I think we're going to see Victory Valkyrie. I think we're going to see Storm Spriggan. Yeah. I think we'll probably see a Longinus, probably Lost, probably Death Scyther, Dark Death Scyther. Yeah. I don't think we're going to see Ultimate. I really legitimately just don't think it's possible.
I would agree. So, Victory, we kind of just covered this already for it. I actually would want to see them release the bad mold at the start, then release the updated mold fix, because I think it'd be funny.
They just, here's your Victory, and the wing snaps off after one battle.
Right off. Then they fix it. They reinforce one. No, but the only other thing I want to say, because like it's very close to Drawn Sword in shape, so it's like it probably can maybe be useful. I don't know. The bottom is more interesting, because it's like they could just do black flat and just call it, and I would not care. Because Variable was a rubber bottom with tiny stubs and you would awaken it. But I'm just thinking, I'm like, bruh, they're not going to do that for X. Will they?
I don't... No, there's no way. They're too... There's no way.
It'd be awakened so fast?
Yeah, it'd be useless. It would, like... It's no way. There's no way, especially when it hits the rails, it's gonna shred those.
Yeah, that's the issue. It's like with a lot of rubber stuff, you can't. Now, where it gets to probably my favorite one, even though it's not my pure favorite for design, because my favorite's the first one they ever did, but Xeno Excalibur, I am gassed for it. The sword, yes. Where it's gonna get tricky is how they're gonna design that sword and everything. Kind of, they're gonna balance out the metal. I gotta assume maybe the top's just gotta be metal or something. I don't know. Like Excalibur especially, dude.
Yeah, I think Excalibur, especially that one's probably easier for them to just mold the entire blade in metal, or just about the entire blade, because it's a lot of sharp angles. The shape's fairly easy, I feel like, for them to replicate in metal. There's not like the main extension is the sword, which they can just mold in metal, of course. So I think that one's probably one of the easier ones for them to do.
Yeah.
I am surprised. I'm very surprised that one made #1. Was that like really popular in Japan?
I think the motif in general is pretty popular. That's why they did Excalibur. I think even in the voting in the past, I think it was for like the Legends election or some stuff in like 2020, whatever. I do remember it being very popular. I think it's as popular, well, I mean, clearly, but like it's very popular, I think, just because for its attack use. Because you gotta remember, when Excalibur originally released, like the first one, that was the best attack clear until like probably even until like we got to like God stuff, because Xeno wasn't as good. The original Valkyrie, the issue with the teeth, Victory was fine, but like the first one kind of has that reputation already. And I think also just the anime probably. Like
I actually on that note, do you think when we get that, you think we get the sword launcher?
Ooh.
Because they could do it. I mean, the big launcher for X is the ripcord launcher. So we could get...
I would love that, actually. But...
yeah.
It gets tricky because remakes for their marketability is kind of tough, because a lot of stuff usually gets locked in random boosters, which makes sense. Or they do the remake sets. Well, we'll get into that in a second, but I would love the launcher. I think if they do that, that is their best one, and that is my heavy bias towards. I don't know, I just love it. It's just cool. Plus, also, even if they do the sword contact, I doubt you'll get like major wear, like something like Xiphoid. Maybe some bumps, but like I expect it to probably be decent, just hitting that ratchet.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I mean, if you look at like Shark and Drawn Sword, they've got some pretty aggressive shapes. So I don't think them putting a sword in there will be a main issue. I think they'll probably, I think they'll just mold the whole thing in metal, and maybe they'll reinforce that sword part. That'll be like the off balance point or something.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because I remember the original one, they had to do a second mold where they reinforced the hilt on the back. Yeah, they could easily just do it where like the metal is focused to the sword edge and it's very unbalanced, which I honestly wouldn't care for. Yeah. This one also is like, just give it 360. I don't want impact. We don't need impact. Impact was, I think impact was probably the dumbest like invention for rubber attack bottom. Like,
yeah, I didn't get it. I was like, what? Why? What is this supposed to? What is it supposed to do?
It accelerates, it slows. It accelerates, it slows. I don't. But in terms of anything, did we go over top? Did we say our top? I don't think we said a top 5 for middle fight yet.
No, we didn't. I don't think we did.
Whatever you say is probably whatever I say, because there's too much of the same, and we'll do burst.
All right, metal fight. It's got to be on the list, right?
Yeah.
All right. I guess. Yeah, I guess Galaxy, Lightning, Galaxy, Lightning, Rock.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks.
There's not much on there. Like, I don't want to say Earth, but I'm gonna say Earth. And I guess so people don't unsubscribe to me, I'll say Meteo.
Meteo, good. Lightning, Galaxy. God damn it. I'm looking at like the same motif. That's what sucks about this. Okay, Lightning, Galaxy, that's 2 assaults, I guess? No, honestly, I would throw in... because we didn't get Basalt, so I think Basalt would be neat. But I like Aquila more. I like Eagle more, just for like the clear wheel design. I mean, I like the clock thing, I guess. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Burn or destroy? I don't know. Sorry, the Rock Leone fans. I want destroy. Actually, I don't know what. No, we keep destroy. I don't think it gets Big Bang. It's just, I don't know. It's so complicated to try to make for X, and it's like, I don't know. But if they did do it, that would probably be the only time Big Bang was useful for anything.
Yeah. Well, if it's useful.
Oh.
It might suck in X, too. All
right. The 4D fans are at my throat now. Alrighty. Burst. Actually, Burst is kind of diverse. So what would you want for your top 5?
Storm Spriggan.
Yeah.
Dark Death Scyther. Fafnir. I guess Excalibur. Because it's interesting.
Sure. It's not that much.
Was Victory Valkyrie on there?
Yeah,
I think we're going to get... I know it's not on the list, but I think we're going to get Victory Valkyrie. So I'm just going to say Victory Valkyrie.
No, Victory
even though it's basic. Oh, it is? Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So Victory. It's just going to be Drawn Sword, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just say Victory.
Okay. I think honestly, it's going to be Xeno, Victory, Lost, Storm, and Drain. Those are my stuff, which is dual layer, but it's like, if they're going to do limited, those would be the ones I would love to see. Now, number 1 is between Excalibur and Drain Fafnir, honestly. Between the both of them, like, if those were like the only two, I would be fine with it. But we'll get into the next part, which now because we went over all this stuff, what do you think they could exactly do for releasing? Because I don't think they'll do the same thing they did, where they basically do, like they did like SSS, Remake Set S, MFB, MFB set. Then after, like burst, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
How do you think?
I think they'll alternate. So I think maybe they'll do like, I think the second one we're going to get is probably going to be plastic as well. One of the plastic gens. And then I think they'll probably do a metal fight, and then they'll do a burst, and then they'll do a plastic gen. And I think it would make sense for them to cycle through rather than just giving us all the plastic gen, then all the metal fight, then all the burst. I think that would make the most sense for them to just alternate between them, just to kind of switch things up. That way you're keeping fans of each gen engaged in the releases.
Yeah. Where it's going to get really hard is how they do it. Because originally for the short random booster, I thought, well, because the short random booster is essentially just like, if you want the anime stock combo, instead of this being a normal booster, it's 3 of the same prize blade and like mix. So I thought it was just going to be like a regular random booster, but like 3-4 bays. So it's not. So that crosses out a potential slot for what they could do. So then after, like, you get random booster, which is easy slots for them to put. And I don't know. Dronzorus, the reason why they can't release it at the start of X is because X is a new generation. It gets eyes to the fans for the whole crossover concept. So it makes sense why they start off with it. But I don't know if they can rely on solely separate releases. It's nothing against any of the generations. I don't know if they can be a standalone. I know Burst did, I think, do it at the start, but we did shift.
Let me clarify. I think that they'll alternate, but I think they're going to throw them in a set. It's going to be like a random booster or something. Because if they release something that other people don't want, then they've got a bunch of dead product. Like people that don't like Burst aren't going to spend money on it. But if they stick it in a random booster, then people are stuck with whatever they get. So it makes more sense from a marketing perspective, in my mind, for them to stick it in a random booster where people can't necessarily skip it. You know what I mean? Like they can mix it in and have it be a secondary prize bay, like what they did with like some of the burst stuff.
So let me just double check. So what I would probably say, because I'm trying to think what else they could do, Because I know they're going to probably do, like, a lot of, like, starter stuff. Like, they're obviously going to do majority mainline, but I'm just trying to think. Anything that's a 3-on-3 set, I think would be guaranteed, because they did that in burst with, like, Wahlborg 1, which I think was during the time when, like, Buster was around, which was really weird. But I think Random Booster 3-on-3 sets is most likely. I would encourage them not to do... I don't even think they'll do sets, probably. It'll probably just be one way or another. I actually wouldn't mind as well if for Random Boosters, they took up a few slots. Like, maybe for Random Booster, it's one of each gen. There's one plastic, there's one metal fight, one burst. And I think that would be the most ideal.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I'd be totally fine with that as well. Yeah, that'd be totally fine.
Well, how many bays are in a Random Booster? Ooh. There are 6 bays in a Random Booster. So that would mean, I don't know, that would be prize, potentially prize blade. Oh. So maybe at least 2. Maybe at least 2, because they probably have to make most of it, at least 2 slots. 2 out of 6.
Yeah. How many did they do? I know for some of the early burst Random Boosters, they do 2. I think there was a set that did like Drigger and Draciel.
But the thing is, it's like they had 8 bays. This is like 6, so we got less.
Yeah. I mean, they could still fill those slots. I mean, it's not. I mean, otherwise, it's just going to be recolors of stuff anyway.
Yeah, I'm not really opposed against it, but I don't know. I don't know if people are going to be like upset at the fact that they're not getting specifically recolor. I don't know. But to me, either way, it's like it is a new blade either way, even if it's a remake or not. It's like its performance is going to be different. You know, I'm okay with whatever. But yeah, I think that's kind of it then. So we basically covered each of the generations. Is there anything else you think we missed out on? I think we pretty much hit everything.
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I have a question for you though. Of the 3 gens, is there anything that you want to get remade specifically? If you could pick anything that didn't make it on any of the lists.
No, Bo-Katan Shoot. Obviously, I would say like Zeus or Cerberus. That was my vote, but actually, Flame and Thunder Pegasus. Just because I think it would be funny for them to get like the needle bit. And you can stack them on top. That would be pretty entertaining. For metal fights, I don't know. I basically just wanted to see 4. I'm trying to think what. I'm trying to think because metal fight's kind of like odd. I don't know. Not Lacerda, that's for sure. I don't know. I think I'm in the bias group where kind of what they remade for Burst I was kind of okay with. I'll try to think. Let me think of something. What would be something that they could try to do?
I was surprised how Kerbex didn't make the list. Yeah, Samurai would be cool.
Kerbex, God Axe, Flame Sagittario, Reunicorno.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. Samurai Pegasus maybe. Cause like I don't know. Like I'll pretty much probably pick the most popular. I don't think there's anything that needs to. No, because there's limited slots. If there wasn't limited slots, I would say Lacerda, but because there is, I can't say Lacerda. Gravity Perseus. That's probably my number 1. Perseus, then after Kerbex. And then Samurai would probably be at the top.
Yeah, Samurai would have been cool. I'm surprised that none of... I mean, I guess CRG wasn't that popular, but like none of them made the list. I think like it would have been cool to see Samurai, because it's like it has a cool metal wheel design.
Yeah. Oh, for Burst. I wanted any Achilles. Probably Z Achilles would have probably been the best choice, just because Chosie's kind of... It works for Burst, because that's how Burst is designed for plastic and the metal swords there. But like, I don't know. Well, actually, Union would be pretty cool, because that would have just been another... No, that would just been another Shark Edge. Yeah, probably Z Achilles. I like Z Achilles. Good old Z. What about you then?
Okay. For plastic gen, man, there's a lot of plastic gen I like. Probably Galleon.
Oh,
it would have been cool to, or Galax.
I think for Galax.
Yeah, with all the female protagonists that are protagonists and like antagonists that they're adding into X, it would have been a good opportunity for them to actually make that. That would have been cool. For metal fights, probably Vulcan.
Ooh, that's a good one. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, Vulcan's one of my favorite designs aesthetically from Metal Fight. Or Hellcurve X would have been interesting. Yeah. For Burst, probably single layer Spriggan.
Oh,
because they could have just molded the whole thing in metal, and it's such a basic shape, but it would have been so good.
Oh yeah. I didn't think to say the single layer stuff just because I don't know, because with the single layer stuff, I don't know how you translate that in design. It'd be very I don't know. I don't even.
They just make the whole layer metal and then just like.
Yeah, I guess. I guess. So just a double check. 2024, probably sometime spring. I assume probably April they start and they end in March. And that probably... The anime is supposed to... Yeah, this will probably bleed... This would be bleeding into, like, the second season if they do for Beyblade X, so... Yeah, they have a lot of potential there in the marketing stuff. I also probably think, not even just because of the fact that they need more parts for them to do the remakes, and plus the design takes time, I also just think it's good for the promotion, just because once the anime starts rolling... It makes sense they've thrown the remakes on there, because that's how you get even if like the anime is like, you know, whatever, which we'll see next Friday. Oh, well, today this will be launched on a Saturday, so the coming Friday, you know, we'll see. But I think they've been pretty smart at the marketing. I do wish that it was like the top 10 for all of them regardless, and they just did year priority instead of it just being finite. I don't know. Do you think that makes sense, like marketing? What do you think it? Well, actually, we'll try to ask this. Do you think they will not do anything else after that point, or maybe not for a while, or you think it's maybe just marketing?
That's a great question. I think if they sell really well, they'll keep doing it. Like if people are buying them and they say, I don't think they're going to cut out potential revenue just because like it's past the anniversary date. I think they'll go, we're making a crap ton of money. Let's print more.
Yeah.
So I think they potentially could continue it further. But yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, because otherwise your only option is like another 5 years. So like what would that be? 2030? I don't want to be that excited for the Beyblade remakes by then.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, because remakes is always such an odd thing, because remakes has, I think in general, it's a very weird appeal. Because you're always going to have a niche audience, because I don't think, for an example, especially in North America, and I do believe this to be true, I don't think anybody cares about Dragooon, Drigger, nobody cares about that, because they didn't grow up with it, because most kids would have grown up with most likely Metal Fight. Even Metal Fights, probably they wouldn't recognize too much. And then after, probably just be like, Burst. So, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work for popularity. I do think, in terms of popularity, I do think probably when they do the Metal Fight remakes, I think they'll be the most popular for video views in general when people do them. Just because I know there are a lot of good creators like the TikTok guy, McFaboy, right?
McFaboy, yeah.
McFaboy, yeah. And Eddie, who revived a lot of the Metal Fight stuff. Obviously, like in very hard work to get to that point to like get Metal Fights like onto like the TikTok scene. And like for people to really get into it. So now there is like this culture of Metal Fight fans that is kind of like a lot more vocal, which I'm very surprised with, and it's very nice to see. Which I do also think that might be how they get people into X, because I know a lot of Metal Fight fans just they love to shit on like Burst, and now they're doing it to X because it's not. Where's Ryuga? Where's Jinga? I want Pegasus.
Yeah, I think it's a good marketing ploy, given that it's we're hitting the anniversary, and B, they're marketing it towards older audiences. So
Yeah.
it'll be like, hey, I played with that when I was, a kid or whatever, and they've made these remakes. So I think there'll be a lot of like, I think there's some nostalgia drive there for that, not just for Metal Fight, but for Plastic Gen as well. I don't think it'll be as popular as Metal Fight, but I think that hopefully we get them in North America. Hopefully they, like, whoever's distributing, I'm sure, I'm guessing it's going to be Hasbro or whatever, but I'm
probably
hoping that, that's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping that we get the remakes over here as well. That'd be really cool.
That's the thing. Because recently there was that article or whatever where they basically reported that, like, what is it? Like, ex-Japan, which means outside of Japan, the anime and toy would be 2024, but they said summer 2024 and fall 2024. And I'm trying to think, when they're saying to celebrate the 25th anniversary, like, for us, if that hits there, like, sometime August, September, October, whenever, let's say July or something, even if it's almost around the same time launch but a year difference, like, they're only going to get drawn, sir. That's the issue with, which I guess maybe we were a little too trigger happy hoping that Global could have been a little bit sooner, but it's like, I don't know how Global's going to celebrate it, or...
Well, they can delay it for us because we got the series later. Like, we didn't get Plastic Gen until quite a bit later. So our North America's 25th anniversary is quite a bit later from Japan's 25th anniversary. Like, I don't think... I'm trying to remember when it released in North America. I want to say it was like 2002?
Yeah.
It might have been a little earlier than that.
Yeah. I guess you have a point, so then.
I guess it depends on how they market it. If they're gonna market the 25th anniversary as just like the overall creation or the release date, or like,
wasn't it the 20th? The 20th was the worst. Well, for TAKARA TOMY, or in Japan, 80K, whatever, very good. Hero was terrible. Now, I think they released like some old, you probably know this, some old rap tracks for like the original series or something for like the anniversary, right? Like,
I am not 100% sure. I know for the anniversary, I think we got a Blu-ray for the anniversary.
I remember there's something Spotify that they did for like the old generation tracks.
Yeah, they might have released the soundtrack on Spotify. I want to say that was a thing.
I think it was like Hyper Bucketen focused though, and there was like no Metal Fight, like not a single one, and I was like, guys, what happened? It's like
well,
I hope we don't get we probably won't, but yeah, I do hope they respect it. That's the thing too. It's like with Global, they really got to get their stuff together, and we'll end off with this, but this is kind of disconnecting it, the whole remake thing. They really got to do a good job with marketing, because like the marketing now, it's kind of like these, no offense to whatever intern they have hired there, but it's like cringe kind of like these shorts, whatever, these skits. It's like, we know who the audience is for that, and it's like, there's got to be something else for the marketing, whatever. My father actually pointed this out before, it was funny, was when they're doing the Quad Strike promotion, they kept using the Quad Drive logo, and I remember my dad used my Instagram account to comment, and they got to fire whoever's doing the posts, because they keep putting the wrong logo on there.
Yeah, I hope whoever's handling the current marketing for the English-speaking audiences is going to change, because it feels like they have sort of a vague idea of the material, but like they're not really super involved. So it could just be somebody that got outsourced, or I have no idea. But you're right. Yeah, I hope that, I feel like Japan's been doing all right with their marketing.
They've been smashing.
Especially,
they did like a freaking, I know it's limited time, but like a gym? Like, whoa. I think it's like for 3 days.
They did that like soccer team crossover thing.
Soccer, a lot of sports events.
They definitely, like, all the promotional material and everything, the YouTube channels, like, it seems like they're investing a lot into the marketing in Japan. I'm hoping that trickles into North America as well.
Yeah. I think actually, that's the one thing we were talking about before. I think the marketing has been very consistent, which is what you need since you're selling a product, and because it's a new product each time, you need to have that consistency in marketing, because if it's like this, they got to keep on saying, okay, we're going to do this event, that event, this event. Here, it's going to be tough. I only hope they're going to do well. I don't know if we're going to get any other info on anything for, like, global until, like, I don't think Toy Fair is going to have anything. So, probably not until, I don't even, if it comes out, like, the summer, probably, like, I don't know, man, like, maybe late spring, maybe probably by June for sure, 2024, we have to find out something what they're going to be doing. Because, like, right now, we're, like, in, like, this weird transition zone where it's, like, Burst is still going on, which a lot of people are surprised with. And every time they ask me, when's Global? It's like, guys, the Quad Strike still is going on. They still haven't released the last set. It's like this weird space that we have.
Yeah, I think, I mean, for North America, we'll probably get some news, maybe some promotional material like midsummer, and then I guess we'll see probably the anime in the fall.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe
yeah.
we'll probably start seeing product. If I had to guess, we'd get announcements midsummer. We'd start seeing products end of summer, anime beginning of fall. Basically, what's happening in Japan right now.
Yeah, basically.
Like timeline wise, I don't see them doing it any earlier, especially with the anime, because like they have to redub everything. So
yeah. Well, then I guess we'll leave it off for the viewer. What is your top 5 for each generation? Is there any option that for a Beyblade that was not there that you would like to have seen? And yeah, that's about it. I don't know when we're going to get another topic for a bit. I mean, this was pretty much the biggest thing for a while until we get more news. I mean, there's the anime stuff, so maybe there'll be something after a bit. But I'll leave it off to Nizuma to plug his channel, and then after we'll both sign off.
Sure. If you guys want to come check out my channel, it's Nizuma Blader. Mostly focused on legacy content, so a lot of Plastic Gen, some Metal Fight, little bit of Burst, some definitely been keeping up with the X releases, so if you want X content, I've got that over there as well, and then a lot of history videos on the franchise.
Yeah, so if you want to say, god damn it, if you want to see some educational content, or some of the first generation, and some of the X stuff, because you did a lot of strategy stuff and that type of new content, check it out. There will be a link in the description below. We will see you all next time until we get anything on the ZankCast stuff. So, take care, everybody. Bye.